They had a debate here with 2 Christians and 2 Muslims. And he asked the question, you know, if America is so bad, why are you moving here? But why are Christians not moving to Muslim nations? And they'll say, well, part of it is because economically this is a better place. And U.S. has created so many policies that's destroyed the Middle East. So the reason why the economy in the Middle East is bad is because it's America's fault.
That's profoundly, utterly wrong.
Please unpack that. Why?
I grew up in a small republic in the middle of Central Africa, and the experience of growing up there taught me how vulnerable civilization is. The ability of people to live freely and to freely exchange is what creates wealth. And it's very precious and it's very rare. The norm in human history and human civilization is for powerful people to predate of weak people. What is extraordinary about America is that it is a society in which it doesn't matter how powerful you are, you're equal under the law, contracts can be enforced. That is why America's rich. America hasn't grown rich by making other countries poor. America has grown rich because people in America are free to exchange. And actually, I would then argue that America has used her strength to elevate the condition of humankind. There have been many, many great powers in human history, from the British to the Babylonians, from the Romans to the Russians. America is the first great power in human history that has not created an empire. She has insisted upon the dismantling of the old empires. In fact, America sent farm boys from the Midwest to go and die in the fields of Europe in the First World War, the Second World War. When America stared down Soviet communism, America has used her strength to keep people free, to keep the world free. America's not an imperial exploiter. America is the opposite, the absolute opposite of that. The idea that America is rich by keeping other countries poor is just nonsense.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that go to school in America who are being persuaded and maybe brainwashed. You can use manipulated or gaslit, whatever word you want to use, any of those, to believe that some parts of the world who are being, oppressed is because America is doing that to them, okay? And that America is playing the puppet master. If they want a country to fall, hey, let's do a proxy war and let's use this guy to cause this one to fall. And hey, what do we have over there? There's a lot of money to be made with weapons to sell. Afghanistan, like weapons of mass destruction. Say there's that, and then boom, let's blame these guys. So that's what they say sometimes. That's the debate going on right now.
You can make some fair criticisms of America. Right. I mean, I think LBJ's policy in
64
in Vietnam was a disaster.
Oh,
why America ever got caught up in what was essentially France's anti-colonial war was a disaster. I think American elites' naivety about multiculturalism led them to believe that they could recreate Western-style democracy in the Middle East. And I think that cultural relativism that infected the thinking of the State Department has led America to make mistakes over the past 20 or 30 years. But American mistakes pale into comparison compared to other countries' mistakes. America's biggest critic is the United States. When America gets it wrong, it's Americans criticizing Americans. America is generally being a force for good. A country that, I come from a small island off the northwest coast of Europe. I think it's fair to say that my country would probably have been invaded by Nazi Germany if it wasn't for the United States. The world owes a huge debt to America for keeping liberal democracy alive. We are a better place to live because of America. If you want to know what America or the world would look like if America retreated, and this is where I have a real beef with some conservatives in America who talk about isolationism. If you want to know what the world would look like without America, think of Afghanistan after America's withdrawal, the barbarism that returned, the tyranny, the horror show that is now Afghanistan. That's what the world without America would look like. It would be a very dark and horrible place.
Yeah, I think that there is a, I like to hear both sides out to see what the point is, because as a guy that's a former vet, and I was in the Army, 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, for me, I think the strongest defense is having a very, very strong offense and military, to the point where you put the fear of death into your opponent, right?
Have you heard about the film Reagan that's just come out?
Oh, yeah. We had Dennis Quaid. We hosted an event. He flew out. We did a live event with a couple hundred people. We watched the movie a month and a half ago. The movie starts off with the spy talking about the fact that they spied on him for 17 years.
That movie really brings it out, this idea that if you want a strong defense, prepare to defend yourself. Have a really big, strong military.
For sure. No, I agree with that.
But Reagan understood that.
But the part about it is when you pull up data and you're like, okay, how many military bases do we have worldwide, U.S.? I don't know what the number is. I think it's 780, Rob. If you know how many total military bases does U.S. have other places? I mean, I don't know. If you just search and see what number comes up. Okay, 800, right? Mm-hmm. So despite recently closing hundreds of bases in Iraq and Afghanistan, the U.S. still maintains nearly 800 military bases in more than 70 countries and territories abroad, from giant little Americans to small radar facilities. Britain, France, and Russia, by contrast, have about 34 bases combined, right? Combined.
And America has bases in Britain.
Right. So to me, a part of that, what is that cost? And what are we getting in return? If we have a military base in another country, are we asking them to pay for the cost to feel protected? So are you paying for it? If we come and make your country safer, I think the only thing for
Europe's been freeloading off America for years.
Well, that's the part that I'm a little bit uncomfortable with. So the first time around, you know, where a lot of Americans started paying attention to what NATO was going is when Trump started saying, why aren't you paying for it? We're protecting you. Why don't you pay? And then the average person's like, wait a minute, you're right. Well, you're living in my apartment, but you're not paying rent. Why are you living here? You pay the rent. This border is more important for you to be safe than ours.
It's worse than that. Europe has huge amounts of welfare programs. Europe spends money that it should be spending on its defense, paying people to sit at home and do nothing.
Right.
Europe has all these generous welfare programs because it counts on America picking up the tab for its defense. So I think America should, and it would be good for Europe to have America insist that Europe pays for its way on defense. Europe hasn't done that for 50 years, and it needs to start doing that. Hi, everyone. I'm Douglas Carswell. You can join me on Minect, where you can ask me any question you want. Why I believe in American exceptionalism. What made me leave Brexit Britain and come to Mississippi, the greatest state, I think, in America. You can ask me any question you want, and I'll answer it directly. Look forward to hearing from you.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.